Have you ever been curious about where your cell phone might have come from? You probably know that it was made by some company. But do you know why it was made? No. Why do we even need smartphones in our lives? But those are questions for another day. Today we're going to try to answer a different question, one much harder to answer because it's so complex, has so many pieces, and also because it deals with the very essence of what makes us human. Where did artificial intelligence really begin? What were the events that led up to this moment? And how does this technology affect us right now?
Ho, ho, ho!
Get ready to go back in time. It's gonna be a wild ride. I feel like I've always been around computers. For me, they've always just been there. They've become such an integral part of my life. When I learned that I could use them to create things, I was sold. The internet was my first love, followed closely by social media. But one thing I've always loved about them is their ability to help me learn new things. But humans have been thinking about intelligent machines for thousands of years.
Ho, ho, ho!
First it was Hephaestus creating the first android in a cave on Mount Olympus. Then all those clockwork robots built during the Renaissance. The concept of a thinking machine fascinated mankind for millennia. What's amazing is how much this idea has persisted over time. In 400 BC, the Greek philosopher and mathematician Pythagoras had a thought experiment. He wondered if a man and a woman, both equally skilled at solving problems, were locked in separate rooms and given a set of numbers to multiply together. Then, after a long time, which would get out first?
Ho, ho, ho!
Surprisingly, he concluded that the woman would emerge first because she would take advantage of symmetry. Realizing that 6 and 7 multiplied together would be the same whether you started with 6 times 7 or 7 times 6. This simple observation was actually an algorithm, a step-by-step process for solving a problem. So, who knows how far down the rabbit hole of artificial intelligence Pythagoras went? We may never know. What is certain, though, is that the next big milestone in the history of AI didn't happen until 2,000 years later when a woman named Ada Lovelace wrote the first computer program.
Ho, ho, ho!
It wasn't like today's programs written in a text editor on a laptop. No, her program was written in the margins of an article describing Charles Babbage's proposed mechanical general-purpose computer called the analytical engine. Babbage's engine, while never completed, was the ancestor of every computer since. And what's most important is that it had a place where programs could be stored, punched cards. So Lovelace used the margins of the article to show how these cards could be used to make the engine perform calculations much faster than any person ever could.
Ho, ho, ho!
She even went as far as imagining what music could sound like if it was generated by the engine, showing that the machine could do more than just calculations. It could be creative. Here's what she wrote, quote, "The analytical engine has no sex. It is capable of receiving ideas from an unlimited number of minds." Wow, pretty prophetic. So that's the big moments for the future of AI, to people who dared to imagine what could be. But once again, we had to wait centuries to see what happened next. It was 1936 and the world was beginning to recover from the chaos of the Great Depression.
Ho, ho, ho!
Scientists and mathematicians were cautiously optimistic about the future. That year, a British mathematician named Alan Turing wrote a paper outlining his vision for a programmable digital computer. He imagined a machine that could not only run programs from punched cards like Babbage's analytical engine, but instead could read them from an input device like a keyboard. And instead of being programmed to do a single task, it could solve any well-defined problem. His paper caught the attention of the British government, and in 1945, He was asked to design a large-scale computing system.
Ho, ho, ho!
What followed was a race against time. Working at Bletchley Park in top-secret wartime conditions, Turing and his team managed to build a machine that could break the German Enigma code. This gave the Allies an intelligence advantage that historians agree shortened the war by years and saved countless lives. Tragically, the contributions of Turing and his team remained classified for decades. But in 1950, he published another paper, this time proposing a test for machines to determine if they could think. Now known as the Turing test, this paper launched the field of artificial intelligence.
Ho, ho, ho!
Suddenly, academics and researchers from around the world were working on making machines think. In 1955, scientists at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology held a conference inviting leading experts from various fields to discuss the possibilities of artificial intelligence. At the time, there were three main approaches. One was to model the human brain using math and computer science. Another was to create simulations of human thought processes. And the last was to build expert systems that performed well in specific areas like chess.
Ho, ho, ho!
The attendees at the Dartmouth conference were so enthusiastic about the potential of AI that they believed machines would be capable of doing anything a human could do within just a few years. But it soon became clear that these timelines were overly optimistic. Progress was slow and frustrating. Researchers struggled to make machines understand natural language. There were many setbacks along the way, but progress was still being made. In 1997, for example, IBM's Deep Blue computer defeated chess grandmaster Garry Kasparov.
Ho, ho, ho!
This showed that machines could indeed master complex tasks that require human intuition and skill. Here's the thing though, even though these early successes were modest compared to what we have today, they laid the groundwork for the AI revolution we're seeing now. In fact, many of the concepts developed during this period are still in use today, such as decision trees, which are used to model human thought processes, and expert systems, which are used in everything from medical diagnosis to financial trading. And let's not forget the godfather of AI, Marvin Minsky.
Ho, ho, ho!
In 1980, he co-founded the Mid-AI Lab and helped develop some of the earliest neural networks. But he also had a gift for explaining complex ideas in simple terms. Remember, everything is represented by numbers. Numbers can be added, subtracted, multiplied, and divided. These operations correspond to some logical operation on the objects they represent. And then it becomes a matter of finding the right correspondence. That's what makes it possible for a machine to think like a human.
Ho, ho, ho!
Fast forward to 2020 and the world is a very different place. Smartphones are everywhere, as are social media platforms. But behind the scenes, something else is happening. A quiet revolution is taking place. In the labs of tech giants like Google and OpenAI, scientists and engineers are developing new algorithms that are changing the world as we know it. One of the most promising areas of research is deep learning, a type of artificial intelligence that uses multiple layers of processing to extract features from data.
Ho, ho, ho!
This approach has led to major breakthroughs in computer vision and natural language processing, allowing machines to finally start understanding the world around them. Some recent examples include image recognition software that can identify objects with greater accuracy than humans, as well as chatbots that can generate realistic conversations. At the same time, other companies are taking a different approach. Instead of trying to make machines truly intelligent, they're focusing on building systems that excel at specific tasks.
Ho, ho, ho!
For example, IBM's Watson is a question-answering computer system that can beat humans at Jeopardy! Meanwhile, Google's DeepMind has developed AlphaGo, an AI program that can play the complex board game Go better than any human. It's hard to say which approach will lead to the development of true AI, but one thing is clear: we're on the cusp of something big. As these systems become more sophisticated, they're likely to have a profound impact on our lives. They could help us solve some of the world's most pressing problems, like developing new drugs and fighting climate change.
Ho ho ho!
Or they could pose a serious threat to humanity, like automating away millions of jobs. What's amazing is that we're living through this historic moment right now. Just think about it. The last time something like this happened was in the early days of the internet. Back then, few people understood the potential of the World Wide Web, but they knew that it was going to change the world. Today, we're in a similar position. We're just starting to scratch the surface of what AI can do. But one thing is clear: it won't be long before these systems become an integral part of our lives.
Ho ho ho!
We've seen how far AI has come in just the last few decades. Who knows what the next 50 years will bring? Maybe we'll have robots walking among us or self-driving cars on the road. Maybe AI will help us explore the vastness of space or cure diseases that have plagued humanity for centuries. The possibilities are endless. So here's to the future of AI. May it be filled with innovation, discovery, and progress. Hey there! Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. We'd love to hear what you think.
Ho ho ho!